All right, let's take another look at keyframes. Here's my lovely ball. And I want to animate this ball, so I'm going to maybe change the position to absolute. And I want to give it an animation. So I'll give it the name of, I don't know, move. For 5 seconds, let's just go forwards. And let's make it linear. And I don't need all this other junk. Then I have to define the animation. And we said, okay, so you can go from some points, don't need that, to another point. So we could go transform it with a translation on the X. We could push it 500 pixels. Or actually, let's not push it from the start. And we could push it 500 pixels to the end of the animation. Just like that. Well, I hope you would agree with me where we could change these words. Instead of going from to to, we could say, well, at 0% of the animation, so at 0% through this animation, let's do this. And then instead of using to, we could say 100%. So at 0% of the animation's play, we are doing this. And then when the animation has played 100% of that 5 seconds, we could do that. And it hasn't changed anything about my animation. But with that in mind, we have an infinite amount of numbers between 0 and 100%. So we could introduce some intermediate steps. So I could say right at the middle, how about let's take this transformation that moves it to the right. So we're going to start at 0. Then we're going to move to the right for 50% of the animation. And then the last 50%, so from 50 to 100, let's move backwards a bit. Whoops. So we get right movement, and then at 50% of the animation, we move backwards. Now, if you wanted to move just a little bit, remember these translations are always they're always in respect to your original position. So yeah, it's kind of weird. This looks like it's going to continue pushing it to the right. But if our original position was 0 pixels, this is actually going to pull it back because we first push it 500 pixels, and then we're going to be going 400 pixels from the original position. So just keep that in mind. Kind of weird. What else can we talk about? We can introduce multiple transformations. So for example, let's say I wanted Y movement. So I want to translate X and Y. So let's say let's get rid of this for a second. Let's say we move X in the X direction 500 pixels. And you don't need to add this here, but I'm just going to. So that's how this looks right now. We're just moving in the X direction. And if you want your animation to stop, I'm just going to copy and paste that. Okay, so it moves in the X. And then after this is played, let's move in the Y direction. So how that would look is I'm going to copy this previous animation transformation, and then I can change my Y direction. So I could go, I don't know, let's go 500 pixels in the Y direction. So now we're going to get right movement, then we're going to get down movement, and we can make it snake. I'll put another right movement. So let's say I wanted to go over here. Well, that means I need to add another percentile. So don't worry about these numbers, just, you know, play with the number values to get the speed right at the end of your animation. So this time when I'm at 100% of my animation, I'm going to copy my previous transformation, and I wanted to move it to the right. So let's move it 1,000 pixels to the right. So we're going to get right movement, down, right movement, and there we go. There's kind of another keyframe, I guess you could say. Let's do one more. Let's move it diagonally. So let's kind of put it right here. Well, that would mean you can't move things diagonally. You can move things to the right, and you can move them to up at the same time, so you can get X and Y movement happening at the same time. So I'm going to copy this 100%. I'm going to paste it in. I'll maybe just decrease these a bit. 20, 40, well, if we wanted it to be nice and linear, I go 25, 50, 75, 100. So I want X movement, so let's move it 1500 pixels, and I want Y movement. However, putting it back up here would basically mean, okay, let's go back to our original Y position, which was right at the top of our web page. So I'm going to go 0 pixels, just like where it started off. So we get right, down, right, and then diagonal, just like that. So that's really all there is to it. I guess the main takeaway was when you're building these animations, go piece by piece, and if you want to add another animation, just copy the previous one, copy the 100% one, and then just reduce your values. You can split them up evenly, and change your new, I guess, ending point where you want that picture to go. And there you go. Once you're done with your animation, play around with these values, because these will basically dictate how fast your animation is going at different stages. So sometimes you don't want a constant speed throughout your animation. So for example, if I wanted my animation to be really quick at the start, so that first zoom in, I wanted it to be really quick, and then slow, 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 and then really quick, I could say, okay, so 0, instead of going 0 to 20, I could go 0 to, actually I do want 0 to 20. I want it to be slow, I said. No, I want it to be quick, I said. So 0 to 5 would be really quick. And then slow, slow, slow. This would have to go from 95 to 100 for that last part to be quick. And then I could play with these values a bit. Actually, I think they should be fine. So I get quick, slow, 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 quick. Kind of interesting, kind of cool. It'll give your brain something to deal with today, so that's all I care about. All right, cool.